we're back. Carson's Corner, I guess. Yeah, that was a tough one. That was a really tough one. I wanted to do this video tonight. Usually I keep it to the weekends or, usually whenever I have free time. I wanted to do this video tonight because I thought, Toronto-Boston rematch, going to be a good game. Leafs are going to show some fire, some energy. Probably going to get a win here, And that probably was one of the worst games I've watched in many seasons. Many seasons. I took a ton of game notes for this one, and I don't even think there's much point in even going through them. Defensive problems are still there. Goalie problems are still there. All the problems are still there, plus new problems now. I don't know how they're going to go forward from this one. I don't even know where to start off this one. It's tough. I mean, even just the breakaways that they're giving away here. It seems like the defense is just not monitoring the speed of the players coming towards them, and they're getting too far apart. Because every time the pair is up there in the neutral zone, they seem to just let somebody, usually Pasternak in this game, sneak by them and then just get a wide open shot at the net. And there's just no coverage. I feel one of the main problems is because there's been such a revolving door of players trying new positions. Everyone's getting shuffled around. They got guys coming in, coming out of the lineup that, you really started to see it tonight, is that nobody really knew where they were playing. That was the main thing that I saw here, is that everybody seems to just not really know where they're supposed to be, whose man they're taking. Because even the passes tonight, they couldn't make a pass. Every time they did, it seemed a little bit awkward. Obviously, they had some good ones, but it just seems very forced, very awkward. They're not playing as a team. They're all trying to do little individual efforts here and trying to get, them going, but it's just nothing's going right for it. Of course, Boston scores first, and it honestly just felt like the roof was going to cave in on them, pretty much. Lorentz gets a gift from McAvoy, Leafs' first shorthanded goal of the year. Incredibly lucky. I mean, first shot of the game, it goes in. You go, okay, fine. You know what? Maybe there's life in this. Maybe we can stabilize from this point on. Nothing at all. I think they got collectively worse after that. And Stolarz himself, I know he opened up about some comments about the team not sticking up for him, and he's getting run a lot, and the players got to crash the opposing net a lot more, which is still true, and I don't think anything he said was wrong, but his play since then has just been god-awful in so many ways. Like, tonight you get a squeaker through there, make it 3-1. You just can't have that. He's just got to be better. Primo before that, not good. Wall's off, and wherever he's at. I know he's on a conditioning stint in the Marlies, I think, but still, he's missed a lot of time. Now Stolarz is hurt. Matthews is now hurt. It's not getting better. It's getting worse for this team. And I think at this point, I personally put a lot of the blame, yes, on the players, but also the coaching staff here, because I don't understand why they keep dressing the same guys excuse me, every night and expecting a different result. I've seen Myers back in the lineup, Joshua, this new guy, Blaze or whatever. And it just seems like, none of these guys are working out. You got to get, I know the league is thin for talent as it is, but the people that are not contributing here, even the small ways, or even just making glaring mistakes, like, you either got to take them out, switch them up for somebody new, because it's just not working. The whole point of Berube coming here and coaching after Sheldon Keefe was to be the hard ass, to be the guy who was going to come in here, sit guys, be somewhat of a loudmouth, be authoritative, and it just seems like an older version of Sheldon Keefe at this point, which is kind of a piss off because he's not coming in here to do what he was supposed to do. So either he's got to harden up and these guys got to get better, or they got to make a coaching change or something. I know that's not going to happen at this point, but something's got to happen here with the management or something, because it's just you're rolling out the same guys every night, and it's just the same story of just, the Leafs start with a horrible effort, get one back, and it goes nowhere. I know Boston is our, kryptonite more or less, but it's just you got to show me something different here. It's so difficult watching that whole Jays run and the passion and the fire they all had. Even if they didn't, win, they played well. They tried. They were giving. You could visibly see they were giving it everything you got. And the Leafs, right after the Jays lost in that heartbreaking Game 7, they had a good fire, a good drive, because they knew the spotlight was back on them right after that. And after that little 3 game spurt, it's just been awful again. And you just don't see the try. They're trying individually, and they're just not playing as a team for each other. It's just becoming just, river hockey out there, basically. Back and forth, giving up chances. No real pressure in the offensive zone at all. It's just a complete mess. And I'm not quite sure how you fix it. As a guy who's watched hockey for 20-plus years, I mean, yeah, I said it before, but honestly, I don't think we're really coming back from this at this point in the season. Yeah, the season's long, but you're already in basically mid-November here. I'm not going to say I would be surprised if the Leafs made it into the playoffs, but it's looking that way at this point. It's getting hard. It's getting hard to think that we're going to even have a shot at this. I always wondered, the Leafs have made the playoffs for 9 straight seasons now, and this would be the 10th one if they made it in. And I always thought to myself, is there ever going to be a year where they don't make the playoffs with Matthews, Nylander? I know Mitch is gone, but, Tavares here. They're always going to be a good team, and, we always kind of said, yes, they're going to make the playoffs. But I always thought, is there going to be a year where just things fall apart? And it's looking like it's this year. It's looking that a lot of expectations we had are just going down the drain. And there's nothing in picks or guys coming up. It's just, this is what we got, and we got to figure it out quick. And maybe they just won't. Maybe they're going to be a bottom feeder team this year. It's going to be a tough watch, but they got to at least change up the look. Give us something to go on here. As another big point too, the last power play the Leafs had tonight actually had some fire. It had some urgency. It had some good chances. No, they didn't score on it, but it looked like they had some hunger. And that's what we need to see every single power play. It just looks stagnant. Even the 5-on-3 tonight, it's just no one's really pressing. They're always to the outside. Like, they have 3 guys on the ice. You should be dancing around them. And it's just everything's to the outside, trying to make cross-seam passes, just not getting a lane. Put everything to the net. I get I'm not on the ice, but just whatever you're doing, do the opposite of it. I don't know. It's a frustrating night. I thought Toronto-Boston rematch, it would be at least a good game to watch, even if the Leafs didn't win it, and it was worse than the first one. So honestly, I don't know where we go from here. I really don't. Anyways, besides that, that's really all I got tonight. I don't even want to read the game notes. There's really no point. It's a tough watch, and that's all there is to say. But if you're watching, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next game. Have a good one.